Hey, welcome to Board Games Today and Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is one of the latest releases from Bandai and Games Workshop. This is the Imperial Fists Intercessor with auto bolt rifle and auxiliary grenade launcher. This is the third figure so far released in the Bandai Games Workshop series of figures. We've already opened up and showed off the Primaris Ultramarine. We've also done the Primaris Salamander figure. This and the Salamander has been released at the same time, so it's pretty cool to get these in our hands. And of course, we got to compare these to the McFarlane toy figures because, well, you know, kind of competition a little bit going on there. So for those who've watched my two reviews of the figures, I've been so it's a bit mixed. Like, the figures aren't bad. I just think they're way overpriced for what you get. And especially now that the McFarlane figures are out, they're way overpriced, is what it comes down to. Like, super, super overpriced. These figures go for like $100 a piece. You know, if you're lucky and to get them, either go for $100 a piece. And then, you know, in the aftermarket, they go for even higher stupid amounts than that. The McFarlane figures, on the other hand, go for a whole about $20 a piece, and are not that difficult to get a hold of, and are, I think, better in a lot of ways. So let's show off this figure and see how this one holds up versus the other two. Alright, so the one thing I will say that this has over the McFarlane figures is the box. The box is gorgeous. I don't think it's $100 worth, but it's really, really a cool setup for the figure. It's really nice, and you know, credit where credit's due on this one. It's a super, super well done package, and just well put together. It's impressive. Way more difficult than it needed to be. Alright, so we get what we're getting right inside. We get a nice window display of the figure. But let's see how this one holds up compared to the other two. Now, if you saw my Salamander video last night, you know, there was a lot of tape on this, but I've learned my lesson. At least I think I've learned my lesson. Clearly I haven't learned my lesson because I'll put away that. So much tape. What is this with modern toys? I've had these discussions in my other unboxings of toy stuff. Modern toys have a ridiculous amount of packaging that goes into them. It's kind of like an obnoxious level of packaging. Or not really packaging, but like tape and everything else to hold it in. It's kind of like stupid level, I think. You might disagree, but I think. Alright, so on this side, we got some hands, we got the backpack, which of course we need. So I'm going to take all that out. Prepare. So a lot of other videos would have this also prepared. You know what? We do this live. We do this honest to goodness live. You can get real opinions. We don't do multiple takes. We're doing it live. Alright, we got the figure in hand. Backpack goes on super easy. Nice little 3 pegs. That's the one thing. It's one thing that is super nice with this is that the figure holds up really well as far as like parts coming off. It's not much issues. The elbows have a habit, or yeah, the elbow things come off really easily, but it is what it is. Alright, let's do our test that I normally do. The bend test. We got the foot. Toe moves up and down. Foot moves up and down, side to side. Ooh, the armor moves up and down with the foot. I don't think I've ever noticed that before. We got pivot right to left at the knee. Bends. Hip. You see, hear the crack or the plastic a little bit. This is very much a plastic toy. Like, that's another thing that I think we'll talk about that in a minute. Arm, the side. Goes out. Elbow. It's kind of a double elbow. Yeah, we'll call that double. Wrist is normal movement like you'd expect on figures nowadays. Head side to side, up and down a little bit. So the articulation is pretty solid. And then, of course, got the chest moving up and back and forth, and the waist twists as well. A lot of articulation of the figure. It's not an issue with the figure. Where I have issues with the figure is that it feels very plasticky. And what I mean by that is there's no weight to it, and it feels like a plastic toy. It feels like a model kit is really what it comes down to. And I know that's what Bandai is known for with a lot of stuff, is their model kits. But that's what this feels like. And if this was a model kit you put together, $100 would be awesome price, and this would be really cool to have. But it's not. It's an action figure, let's be honest. And for $100 and this level of plastic, it doesn't feel like I'm getting my money's worth. Now, this is the McFarlane figure. McFarlane figure is actually really close size-wise. These are pretty close when it comes to actual size of the figures, which is pretty cool. But this is a whole $20 versus this figure at $100. This figure feels like I could club someone to death with. This feels like it would break if I breathed on it wrong. So when it comes to value, this figure is, I think, way better. The detail on this is better too, as far as the coloring and all that stuff. But let's talk about that. You can see, I think, a lot of what the coloring comes down to is on that hip guard. I have no idea how well that's going to come through. You can kind of get the general idea. You can see the hip guard around the knees. The black shading is kind of around the outside of it. The groin area, it's really present. And it's way more, I think, more present on this. The Ultramarine has it, I think, just because it's darker blue, it's not as noticeable. And then on the Salamander, see, we come prepared, we got them all. It's not as noticeable. It's really not as noticeable with the Salamander figure. So it's something that really sticks out, I think, with this figure itself, the Iron Fist figure, the Imperial Fist figure. But you know, it looks decent. The markings are good. I think the fist symbol on the side is good. The backpack's really nice. It just feels like a plastic action figure. All right, so let's go with the weapons. Now, the one thing I will say that stands out really well. So you get 2 extra pairs of hands for the figure, and it's something I think that does have a kind of a one-up on the McFarlane figures, is that there's extra hands, and that is a slight bonus compared to the McFarlane figures. It's much easier to get weapons in. You can see I got the knife in. This is the other hand. This is just an open palm, so I guess you can say stop, Xenos scum. And then let's look at the weapon here. This weapon is it's massive. Really cool. They've got the straps on this, and then the Salamander had the same strap as well. Really nice addition. I think it's a small detail that works really well. The gun, I think, on these are really solid, a little bit better than McFarlane stuff. I like how the barrel has holes in it. You know, there's a little bit more coloring than just one solid color. It's good. The other is it's flat. Like, there's no shading to it. There's nothing. So to really pop out the detail, it's just flat colors. The strap is a little bit better when it comes to coloring, which is interesting. But I think that's just the color of brown that they use more than anything. But the weapons, I think, are a little bit better than the McFarlane. Now let's get the gun in the hand. Oh! Just took his arm off. Well, it's good as it looks like I can kind of pop it in pretty easily. This one I'm actually having trouble with. That's kind of fascinating. All the other ones, no problem at all. There we go. This one I seem to have a little bit of problems with. There we go. We got, of course, the big honking weapon gun with the grenade launcher, which is very 40K. Just oversized, completely insane. I'm going to do a quick test to see how well it stands. And with the gun, it stands really well. We'll go and show it off really quickly. So it's pretty solid. I mean, it's a cool figure. I'm not gonna lie. You know, as a 40K fan, as a player, and a GW fan, and you know, having been playing for like 20-something years, 25 years, maybe close to 27 years. It's cool to have this. Is it worth $100? Absolutely not. There's no way in hell I think it's worth $100, especially with the McFarlane stuff out. But you know, the fact that it exists is pretty cool. If you're into it, cool. Like that's totally fine. It's just one of those is like, as a figure, it doesn't, you know, the figure itself doesn't differentiate itself at all. It's literally the same figure, just colored differently, versus the Salamander and the Ultramarine that's been out. There's absolutely nothing different at all. No variation whatsoever. I mean, a little. So the only thing difference is the Ultramarine has a skull on the front of his head, and the Salamander and this figure does not have a skull on their head. So that's literally the only difference between the two sculpts. But yeah, it's like, I think it's gonna be kind of fun going out and doing some photos with this. But you know, that's kind of where I'm at with it. You know, it's not something that I'm saying you have to go get if you're a fan. I'd rather spend money and go get 5 of the McFarlane figures, especially since they got the paint your own, which is really cool. But if you're really into this, like, you know, you are like this chapter, like Salamanders, Ultramarines, and then cool, like, go for it. The other is they have a 4th one coming out. It's going to be White Scars. Of course, we have it on order, because, of course, we have it on order. As much as I'm crapping on it, of course, I have it on order. So the White Scars is up for pre-order right now. It comes out in November. We'll have a review when that's released. So this we won't have links to, because you can't really get it other than aftermarket, and the aftermarket prices are ridiculous. So good luck with that. Honestly, swear good luck with that. But other than that, you know, you can, of course, go get the White Scar figure right now from Bandai directly. We'll have an article about that on our site, Board Game Today. If you want the latest Games Workshop news, game news in general, BoardGameToday.com is where to go. Of course, we're here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Board Game Today, keeping it nice and consistent. As always, thanks so much. Keep rolling those dice and get your game on. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.